This is the one. Okay, I'm going to pause.
Let's go again. All right, I'm going to make a Dead Minds group. Dead Minds group. Dead Minds.
Okay.
Testy test.
Okay.
Auto invite on. Description tester.
Okay.
List group. Dungeon group joined. You've joined your group for Dead Minds. So I'm just going to leave it. Hands off the mouse.
No. All right.
Will he?
No
what
hands.
happens when he signs up?
No hands.
Just sign up.
Boom. That's one.
And I'm in a group.
Boom. That's one. So it has auto invite on and everything like that. So here's really what I do think is going to happen is that this add-on will be version 1.0. And then version 1.1 will have different preferences that players can create. And then version 1.2 might have a little thing that you can check to look at people's item level. And then version 1.3 might have some sort of checker with the armory that looks at somebody's gear. And then it's like, you see how this happens. The first thing that I want to talk about is this attitude that people fucking have. Well, it's not affecting your experience and people want to play the game differently. Who are you to tell them what they can and can't do? I remember hearing that. I remember hearing that whenever they made 40-man raids, 25-man raids. I remember hearing that whenever they added transmog into the game. I remember hearing that exact same argument whenever LFR was implemented. I remember hearing that exactly at the same time that the Dungeon Finder was implemented too. I remember hearing that whenever everybody got any sort of a reward. Everybody got a legendary. How does it affect you? I remember this every fucking time around. This isn't anything new. These are the lazy, casual, and actually I don't even want to call them casuals because I don't want to do a disservice to actual casuals by lumping them in the same lot with these lazy babies, which is what they really are. Lazy babies. And I don't like that shit at all. These are the same fucking people that have ruined retail. They have ruined retail with their attitude that it's a single-player game. Why does it matter how other people play? Why does it matter? Because it devalues the accomplishments of everybody else that doesn't play that way. If you kill Illidan on LFR, my kill on heroic or normal mode means less. Because other people have it. They share in the same fucking reward. It does matter what other people do. It does matter. How do you know that it fucking matters? Because every single goddamn person that played Classic WoW has a story of inspecting somebody in Ironforge or Stormwind and being inspired to raid. That's why it fucking matters. These single-player gamers can go back to Candy Crush. These single-player gamers can go back and play, they can go play BFA. Classic WoW was not designed for LFG add-ons in mind. They are antithetical to the game, and in my opinion, I think Blizzard should get rid of them. And, oh wow, isn't it great that Blizzard agrees with me? After I kill this boss, I'm going to play a video for you guys, okay? Alright, here we go.
On the other end of the spectrum, though, there's stuff that's been added to the UI API since then that allows for the creation of add-ons that communicate with each other and can be used to create social networks within the game. We're actually kind of suspicious of these and skeptical about the possibility of add-ons reproducing some of the functionality that we've deliberately removed from Classic that we feel could be harmful to the authentic experience. And we know that once it's out there, saying just don't use it if you don't want it isn't good enough because it will start to become part of the fabric.
You hear that? You hear that, retards on Twitter? Retards on Reddit? You hear that? Game director disagrees with you. You know, the guy that's a scarab board? Yeah. Yeah, you have no idea what you're talking about.
And so we may be restricting some of those new things as well. We're likely going to find some kind of middle ground that combines the old and the new here with a goal towards making sure that the vast majority of the add-ons that people know and expect function with the goal of an authentic experience.
So how about that? So how about that, boys? How about that?
Now, just to wrap up, there's one big thing that we haven't talked about yet. I know I've heard a lot of...
This is a lot more stuff, but I just want to make sure that that we have that that is documented, and everybody knows that was said by Ian at BlizzCon whenever they were talking about this exact same issue. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The point that I'm making is that this add-on is bad. It is antithetical to the way that the classic WoW was created and designed to be played. This is a fact. All right? Like, everybody basically agrees with me on this. At least most people do. The majority of people agree with me on this. On top of that, I don't think this add-on, if nothing ever changed, I don't think this add-on will ruin the game. But what I do think will ruin the game is what will come out of this add-on. That's what I was saying before about the different players. And, oh, why does it matter how we play the game? We're paying for the game the same as you are. That attitude is what ruins the game. And that attitude can't be allowed in Classic WoW in a popular way. That needs to be shut down every step. That attitude is what the issue is. This add-on is a symptom. That attitude is the disease. It's ruined the fucking game. Because these lazy babies don't know that they're playing an MMO. I'm not okay with it. And what about your guild taking over the server? That's completely normal. Like, guilds did that back in vanilla WoW. And obviously I was using hyperbole. Do you really think my guild is going to completely take over the server? Of course not. We haven't taken over Kel'Thuzad, and I've played on that server for years. It's obviously hyperbole. Come on. Like, I feel like 95% of people think it's a joke, and the 5% get mad because they think that it's real. Come on, guys, let's be real. People streamed back in 2005, 2006? No, but they had large guilds and communities in the same way. Elitist Jerks is an example of that. There's plenty of other examples, too. Let's see, this is not, what is this here? Regard to Group Finder or ILO, people inspect you and check your gear before the raid. What's the difference? The difference is that it's an automated system that doesn't require personal interaction. That's the difference. That's what matters. What do you think of Questy? As I said before, I think leveling add-ons, like probably by the second or third time I might use a leveling add-on, I might not. I probably won't even need to because I'll know what quests to do. But the fact is that the leveling add-ons, in my opinion, I don't think are as harmful to the game as this, because the social aspects in the game are probably the most important thing. I've always viewed the social element of WoW as the most important thing in the game. Why is that? It's very simple. It's because that's the main thing that people continue playing for. That's why they log on. They log on to see with and to play with their friends. That's what I think really matters. Questies kill social aspects in some ways. I mean, like, everything kills social aspects in some ways. It's always a matter of degrees, right? And that's the whole point that I'm making, right? Both of these things are bad, but the degree that Questy or a questing add-on kills social interaction is not as bad as the Group Finder add-on. That's the only point that I'm making, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Blacklist LFR users on Farolina. That's not gonna happen. Nobody's gonna do that. Like, I don't want to deal, like, honestly, like, I don't want to deal with a blacklist, okay? I just want to play the fucking game. Like, just want to play the fucking game. And that's all there is to it, man. What was the announcement? Horrible? What's this here? Leatrix add-on for tips. I don't know about Leatrix. Is that like the latency fixer? I remember I used to use that back in like fucking Wrath or something like that. It was a long goddamn time ago. Spit on LFR add-on users. I can come up with something that's more inventive than that. I mean, we don't want to spit on everybody. Then it loses its value. EQ dungeons with LFG back in vanilla by talking to innkeepers. You'd be automatically placed in a group. I don't think that's the case, man. What about a bulletin board in game? So, all right. I do think that a lot of people are getting confused about two different things. So, whenever I'm talking about Dungeon Finder, I'm talking about this Dungeon Finder and the Raid Finder. I have a problem with these two things. I don't have a problem with this thing. Pre-made groups is fine. I'm completely okay with this. because it's player created and it's fine. That doesn't mean that it should be in Classic. It doesn't mean that it should be in Classic. But for retail WoW, I think this is fine. You understand? The add-on is the same thing. I don't think that it should be in Classic, though. Because it wasn't in Classic originally. Do you understand? Like, I don't get it. Do you think that they should get rid of add-ons for Classic entirely? No, I don't. I've thought about the idea of Blizzard adding in a, what do you call it? A Blizzard adding in, like, an accepted add-ons list, right? Where you can only download add-ons from Blizzard. You know what I mean? And that I don't know really how I feel about that. That's not really that great of an idea. But, you know, like, I don't know. Classic community is so fucking toxic. I don't think the Classic community is toxic at all. The ironic thing about people saying the Classic community, like, I mean, they are toxic, okay? Let me just say that. Actually, let me go back and say the Classic community is toxic in a lot of ways, but this is not one of them. All right? Classic community is toxic in a lot of ways. This is not one of them. You know what is really toxic? Poisoning the game with your LFR mindset. What is the definition of toxic? It's a much fucking closer to the way these people want to have the game changed than people who are just making fun of and talking shit about streamers. They are but by the closest definition of the word toxic, they're the ones that are toxic. What do you think about gear score add-on? I mean, in Wrath, like, the thing with that is that, like, I've got like 5 red ones out of this run. As the game has evolved, I feel like, obviously, the systems and the way that people interact with each other should evolve. That being said, I don't think that Classic WoW is where those things should happen. Because the game came out with a specific intent in mind. And I don't want to see this game, Classic WoW, have gear score and have a bunch of other stuff. Now, will there always be a certain tool that people can use to, like, you know, evaluate whether somebody's good or not at the game? Absolutely. Yeah, that will always fucking happen. It will always be in the game. But that doesn't mean that we should just sit around and be okay with that happening in every single different avenue. And that's the point that I'm making. It's evolution. Yeah, it's evolution. I get that. It's completely okay with me. And if it was Wrath of the Lich King private server, I would expect to see a gear score add-on. But it's not a Wrath of the Lich King private server, and I don't want to see it. That's the point. Funny thing is, gear score wouldn't be effective and potentially backfire on users. Yes and no. I mean, people with a higher gear score in Classic WoW probably would trend towards being better players and having higher DPS, even though there would be a number of exceptions. Right? If you were to create like a, I don't know, like a point graph, right? Of like, you know, average DPS versus gear score, it would go up pretty much the same. But obviously there would be, of course, outliers. How many hours in your stream? We stream on release day? I will stream until I can't. That's basically the idea that I have. I'm going to stream until I can't.